Alright, sweet. I think it jumped straight to live. Haven't done this in a hot minute, so it's like I immediately forget how to do it. That's okay, I have everything ready anyway. You didn't see my cute intro screen. See? Ha! Now we're really starting. Feels more official. Yeah, kind of an impromptu stream. I know, it's like, Mia, where have you been? You keep saying you're gonna stream, you disappear. I know, I cannot be trusted. I have a lot of other cool side projects going on, I got very distracted. Alright, but today I have some cool stuff for you. I'm going to be working on some of the 7 deadly sins. I'll show you what I have done already as well. This is Lust. It's a little on the nose. It's literally a naked woman, so it's like pretty obvious. But I got some cute things in there, you know. She got her little mask because love is blind, that kind of stuff. Alright. Let me triple check, make sure everything is looking good. Yeah, this looks good. Alright, little typey. Retitling it. It's like M3DM livestream. It's like a very generic name, so give it like a real name. Alright, cool. I'm just gonna start going. I'm gonna pull up my references here and I'll show that to you as well. But yeah, this was Lust. Really happy how this is coming out. I couldn't figure out a way to sculpt stretch marks that I liked, but I did still give her some nice folds on her hips. I'm really happy with those. Also trickier than I thought it was going to be. And then Gluttony. Also lots of folds. Not as cute. Yeah, he's looking gnarly. I'm very happy with him. And those are the 2 I have done recently. I finished Wrath a long time ago. He's like a demon goat man. Like play on Satan. I don't have that easily pulled up, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And then what do I work on today? I'm thinking I'm gonna work on either Greed, which I'm not totally sure how this is gonna come along right now. I'm worried it's looking a little bit too much like Pride, which is this one. Very different vibes, but we'll see. I think I'm gonna work on Envy. Yeah. Yep. This is what I'm gonna work on. Alright. First things first, I'm going to adjust the lighting a little bit because the default ZBrush is really dark and on stream it's especially kind of hard to see. So I'm gonna adjust that, get some ambient occlusion here, better contrast. I like to add 3 lights. So I have a main light, which is white. I have my bottom right light right here. I make it something like a blue cooler tone. And then by contrast, on the top left corner here, I do a warm color. I don't render in ZBrush. I actually render in Keyshot. But it's nice when it looks good when you're working on it too. Alright, let's pull over my references. I have a bunch of Pinterest boards I've made, and for Envy, right here. So these are all things that feel like Envy to me. Going pretty traditional with the green-eyed monster take. I really like this one. But yeah, let's just get rolling. Got my references on my other screen. Very good. Alright, well, where do I want to start with this? She has no shoes, because I always avoid shoes. And this is just like an early block out. Working on 7 deadly sins is really fun, because, you know, it's very conceptual. Envy has a pretty obvious one, because, like, the green-eyed monster, so I can have something more obvious to play on there. But some of the other ones have been tricky, for sure. Like, in, like, Pride and Greed, I still want to work on a little bit. Lust and Gluttony I'm super happy with, same with Wrath. I didn't show you guys Sloth. Let me show you what I have going on for Sloth. This is Sloth so far. Hey Xander, how's it going? Alright, Sloth is super spooky so far. So I had to think about Sloth in kind of a different way, because you think of Sloth, a lot of people think of lazy, you know? I try to think of it more as like apathetic. And so that's why I have some chains around his neck, like being weighed down. It's kind of like a personification of what I imagine like depression to be. It's like it's apathetic. It's not someone that's just fat and lazy. That's Gluttony, you know. it's past that. It's more sad. So, we just got this droopy sad man right now. Alright. Let's go back to Envy. Very cool. I also have fresh coffee already started. And yeah, I see people already starting to join in. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know, I'm the worst with like, oh, I'm gonna live stream twice a week. Don't believe me until it starts happening. I kind of just like come in sporadically. Once I get rolling on this, I'll talk more about the projects I have going on, because I have a lot of projects going on right now that I'm really excited about. Alright, I want to do some more work on her hair and her face right now. Oh, something else I want to do before I get too far in is put a little screenshot of her right here. That way, as people tune in to the live stream, they know what the heck is going on. Alright. But yeah, so a lot of really cool, exciting things have happened since last time I've live streamed, which is partly why I disappeared. One of them being, I have a CNC now. Like a proper big girl CNC. I put some pictures of it in the Discord. I'm going to be making DM screens, dice boxes, really just whatever I want. I'm really excited about it. It's kind of about expanding the business, but more than anything, I really miss working with my hands as well. And I don't want to learn how to just sculpt with clay. I really like sculpting digitally. So I'm like, you know what? I'll get more into woodworking again. I did it a decent amount in college, and it brought me a lot of joy, and I miss it. So I have that back in my life again right now, and it's awesome. That will have a Kickstarter and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm also learning how to make dice. Just fun stuff. I mean, it's all stuff that I do want to use to then like expand the business, but more than anything, again, I just miss working with my hands. Leander has a question. He says, when do you think there'll be AI able to make 3D models, and how would you use it to enhance your own work? Super good question. So, when? I would say 5 years, give or take. It's a more complicated problem, but nothing that AI learning can't figure out. I would most undoubtedly use it to make things I don't like making, like shoes. Just things that I'm not passionate about creating. I would also probably use it for rough concepting, almost like a kit bashing effect. Ultimately, I like making my own stuff. But if something that's been done 100 times over, it's the same reason why I don't make my own base meshes, you know? It's been done. I don't feel the need to improve upon how an elbow looks. It's good to know how they look so I can sculpt my own in certain circumstances, like when I pose. But other than that, like I don't need to sculpt it from scratch every time. So I think that's what I would use AI for. Generate base meshes I could then work from more quickly. Good question, though. I do feel for a lot of like 2D artists right now, though, because it is kind of bleak. In 3D, not really as much affected. But there are a lot of 2D artists that are very stressed about it, and you know, I'm worried. I think I'd be concerned too, because with 3D models, I can show you the product, but that doesn't mean you can go home and 3D print it. But with like 2D art, like if you see it, like that's the product, you know? Like obviously you can watermark it and that kind of stuff, but ultimately that is the product, you know? Let me scoot my camera a little bit. There we go. All right. Oh, I didn't put on my own music either. Would like to do that. There we go. Sweet. I'm going to try to get more into the habit of live streaming. Not even so much to hang out with you guys, even though I think you're fun. It's for my students. It's such a good resource to be like, hey, I sculpted this, and what's better than like here's me sculpting it in real time, you know? So I'm going to try to hold myself to it, because there's really no reason for me not to. If people are watching, you guys are always super low maintenance. You ask questions here and there, but for the most part, I can just put on music, and it's not that different than working by myself. Alright, I'm using a slash brush right now, which is in Lightbox, because I'm a huge fan of using it to get the start of hair. I don't want to go too far, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her hair once she is posed. I don't think it's going to be too much of a focal point, but I don't want to commit to anything too much. Which just establishing general direction right now. Nothing too complicated. There we go. And thank you again, Xander, for the stat sheets for the Axolotl Warriors. I already have a post that's scheduled to go out later in March that will be highlighting those. I have a lot of posts that are scheduled ahead of time right now, so it feels weird. By the time things get posted, I've like completely forgotten about them. There we go. I like these pointy shoulder pads she has right now. Let's make them a real thing. Adding thickness to them. Looks good. Alright, how do I want to texture these? Might want to add a small trim to them, which I go to stroke and then curve modifiers and frame. And let's add maybe a strap, see how it looks. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer already. And it's actually following the contour of the edge for me the first time, which is awesome. That looks nice. Yep, I like that. We're keeping it. Might want to change the color of them too. There we go. Okay, I don't want her to have green hair though. Let's fix that. All right. So right now I'm just kind of work top to bottom, adding more detail to what is already here. Because I am pretty happy with the overall block out, other than the fact that she's missing shoes, which I do need to fix at some point. I'm going to add a surface noise modifier to these, see if I find anything that I like. I'm not even sure what kind of texture I want on these. I think I'll know when I see it. Yeah, I think I'm going to work with this one. So obviously it doesn't look like much right now, but I'm going to go into my surface submenu here and edit. And it can look pretty different once I'm done here. It would help if I unwrap these with UVs too. I could have more control over how they lay over. But since it's kind of an organic shape anyway, I'm not too fussed about it. We'll see how it comes out. Kind of looks like camo right now. You're going to make sure you've subdivided enough so the detail actually has something to hold on to. That's why it looks kind of blurry. There we go. That's crisp. That looks nice. All right. I'm going to hit copy right here just so I have that saved if I want to apply that texture to anything else in the model. All right. Where else would I want to put that? Definitely on her hips. I don't think I actually have to do that from scratch again. I bet I can just copy and paste these. So I'm going to duplicate these two. And then merge them down. Now I have this copied piece and I can just move them down. Alright, so you can get this thing where like they split and it's all goofy and stuff. All you have to do to fix that is mirror and weld. Which can be annoying if you have multiple subdivision levels because you can't mirror and weld with that then. I think you're able to if you go to Subtool Master, but don't quote me on that. So I did auto groups right now. You can see there's like 2 colors clipping through it here, and that's because I had a symmetry turned on when I added these belts, so it actually added like 2 copies over each other. It's not a huge deal. I'm just gonna go through and remove the overlaid copy. Alright, I did this because I want to adjust the bottom piece here to be a little larger. There we go. I like how it's looking. I also want to adjust these straps up here to have a nice edge in them too. Xander said, idea maybe steal part from other models from the line might show another way to show envy. Well, I do kind of like that. I like the idea of envy and greed being like a married couple, since their sons are very similar. So I might give her a few ornaments that are actually from greed. Not that he gave them to her, because that defeats the purpose of greed, but that she took. Go in here with the ZModeler brush. I'm going to insert an edge loop. And then I will extrude it. To get this border, there's another way I could have done this. But this also works. There we go. Looks much more interesting. And then it took me way too long to realize, but came across this super cool thing, which it auto creases, and it works like 90% of the time. There you go. Looks great. Alright, let's get this dress bodice piece going. I think I'm gonna get some nice creases on this as well. And then kind of like metal, but not quite. Just like a stiffer material. Oh, hey, someone new. Oh, wait, no, I recognize the name. Yeah, it was a guy you talked to on Instagram recently. Hey, how's it going? You gave me tips by Wonder Woman. Love your work. Thanks for the tips again. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I recognize your name immediately. It stands out. Thanks for tuning in. I don't live stream very consistently, but it does happen from time to time. I'll keep making consistent, and then I get distracted on other projects. It is what it is. Alright. I think I'm always torn on like when to add thickness to projects like this, because with the ZModeler brush, when you start extruding and stuff, you get these really weird back like faces that overlap each other and they cause problems for 3D printing. So I think I'm gonna get completely solid now and then just build off of that. The reason I take so long to add thickness usually is because the less polys you have and when it's hollow like this, I find it easier to work with the mesh. Oh, you know what? Since I have these flaps right here, and I don't trust it to do uniform thickness on that, this is where dynamic subdiv comes down perfectly. So we'll do that. So just forget what I just said. I'm not doing that. I haven't quite decided what material I want this to be. I think I'm actually gonna go a bit more fabric. Because she has like these large metal pieces that I've given her. I know this design's gonna change a lot. We'll see. I'm just gonna roll with it. I want to get in the habit of saying yes. All right. It's a basic start. Let's go ahead and add some trim to that by going to stroke, frame mesh, and let's just see how our curve strap brush looks. I'm pretty happy with that right from the get-go. No need to overcomplicate it. And then I have this piece right here, which could be a really interesting belt. As of right now, it's not super fitting with the piece because I'm not sure how I want the hip pieces to fit on. Got lots of options. I do think I want them a little more form fit and that belt to be a lot wider. As I mentioned, like when in doubt, just duplicate it and then change the shape under it a little bit. It pretty much always looks cool. And yeah, this is no exception. I'm not sure about the belt pieces right now, so I'll just revisit them later. And then let's go back to this top, which I'm also not really deciding what kind of material I want it to be. I'm gonna add some fabric to it and see how I like it, or some folds. All right, I missed some chat. 1 second. Always had thickness. Xander's been around for a long time, and I feel like I'm hyper aware when I say adding thickness to pieces because I say it constantly too. It's part of the process. I've been binging all your videos. I'm gonna start miniatures project. Cool. But so much information out there, it's kind of overwhelming. Yeah, feel free to ask me questions here too. Work on collectibles, way more time consuming. Absolutely. All right. Start adding some fabric folds. I might go back and make this metal again, not sure. So we're just gonna start. I always use a standard brush with a lazy mouse turned on. Don't want to add too much detail to this if I'm just going to cover it up. So I'm trying to look at the image I have on the left there that's pinned to be like, is this just being covered up by our hip pieces anyway? Because if so, don't want to do work that's just going to be covered up. If I'm making a model that's going to have multiple poses, then I don't worry about that. But this is just going to have one version, so I don't want to waste any time. All right, some real simple folds and adds a ton. I can go back later, and I'm a big fan of going through once I have kind of like my folds blocked out and then going in with really thin and like harsh lines. One, they 3D print really well, and two, that's really the only way to convey like tight or thin fabric. If you don't have these tiny folds like this, then it's not going to read correctly. That took me way too long to figure out in the beginning too. I was like, why does all my fabric look so chunky? I'm like, it's because your folds are so thick. When in doubt, not really when in doubt, just always references for everything. A lot of my students, I kind of overestimate how like common sense it is for me to get references, and like some of my students, like they mentioned like, oh, isn't that like cheating? And I'm always like horrified by that. I'm like, cheating? No, I promise you don't know what anything looks like. And not because they're learning or a student, but because that's just so much information, you know, to remember exactly what everything looks like. There's no way. My favorite example is always when I learned to sculpt an elephant. I did this war elephant project, and oh my god, do I not know what an elephant looks like, y'all. That was humbling. A close second to that was a moose. These are ridiculous looking animals, I'm telling you. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. And then these are going to be textured pretty similarly. Looks like I have this as a separate piece. Doesn't really need to be. It is higher poly than it needs to be, so I'm just going to remesh it at half. And then I always have my adaptive size to 0, because when the adaptive size is 0, it pretty much doesn't pay any attention to the shape of the piece. It just tries to get uniform squares across the whole thing, which is what I want. Or uniform quads, more specifically. Alright. I'm going to merge that to the other panels that I have. And then use some dynamic thickness. Yeah, it's a good start. I don't think I'm going to add a trim to these. I think I'm going to add folds and then tear them up. That way it's not like the same texture everywhere. Amir said, really, moose are ridiculous looking animals? Yes. Xander, shut up. Amy, just want to say hi and thanks for your attention to content. Of course. Live is up. Watch another time. Of course. It'll be up. Bye. Looks like this piece is a little too low poly compared to the rest of it, so I'm just going to end up splitting it off again. There we go. Subdivide it, and now add some folds. These pieces right here are not doing anything for me. Kind of boring. I won't fuss with that too much until I pose her. I'll figure out if she needs, like, pants. You know, that's probably not a bad idea. I think we're going to give her some pants. There. Clothed. I'm going to have to add shoes, aren't I? Just really trying not to. And Xander says, I almost said Emperor Xander. I have your elephant on my desk right now. Oh, that's so cool. I love how that thing came out. Like, some of my older work I look at and I'm like, yep, I made that a long time ago and I can tell. The war elephant? Nah, he's cool. He's super cool. Alright, I'm gonna pay some more attention to her face. Because I kind of, like, roughed it out, really. Wasn't too picky with it. I'm gonna smooth some of these details out. Let's see, where is the eyelid of that? Let's move that out. There we go. I want these eyes to look very bulgy and uncomfortable. You know, envy. Always looking at what is not theirs. I think my favorite things about envy is that it's not necessarily about wanting. It's just about wanting what you don't have specifically. Which always makes me laugh because it's like the thought that you could have it all, but you would still want more. And that's why I think that envy and greed are a great pair. It's like the perfect recipe to never be happy, just always wanting more. And specifically what others have too. What a combo. It's a good way to not be happy and not have any friends. It's like a 2-for-1. Doesn't look too different from a distance, but definitely coming together. I want to poly paint it a little differently too. Let's play with that. How would that look? Let's go back to a flesh tone. I think dark is the way to go. Yeah, that's a nice depth. Spoopy. And I think giving her a more severe hairline would be kind of like uncomfortable and good in this case. It's gonna make her look like she's balding. Toxic couple, 100%. I want to give like this little bit like a grimace, just like super dissatisfied. I really can't raise or lower her eyebrows much more than that, but I can arch them more. Looking pretty severe. I think she needs like a little like crown, spiky crown of some sort. Let's just add some green spikes on her head and concept that really quick, see if I like it. Because I don't know. Spike. Looks really funny when there's just one. I think I like that, but they're way too tall. I'll let him sit there for a little bit and we'll think about it. It's not that I don't like them. I'm just kind of neutral. Looks so goofy. That helps. She doesn't have any spikes anywhere else, and her shoulder armor is almost kind of rounded. And that center spike, it just looks like I can just see it by itself still. I do have some ornament brushes I can also kind of concept with. Yeah, like what if this was like the base for something that's nice on top of it? Kind of like that even. We're gonna just stick that on there and leave it alone for right now. I'll think about it. I'll come back to it. But I do want to make this thinner first. Just a little bit. Alright, moving on. I want to work on that belt piece and then as well as some sort of footwear. Statue of Liberty. She's green already. Alright, the geometry on this is a little funny. I don't think I even want the spike either. I actually like this piece right here. It is not symmetrical though. ZBrush is telling me these are the same, and I can... they're not. Just Zeri mesh again. Didn't like what you gave me. Try again. Guess. There we go. Alright, let's use a Z-modeler brush. Extrude that a bit, and then we can extrude the border. It's a little too thick, so instead let's add an edge loop, and we'll do that instead. Yeah, it should work nicely. Stop adding edge loops. Just extrude what I'm touching. There. Yeah, it's an interesting piece. Going to duplicate it and do something with that. Ends up looking kind of like trim pieces for the tabards I have hanging down, which I kind of like. think those hip pieces need to be a lot thinner. Let's try that. There we go. Looking much more interesting than we had on the left, for sure. I don't have anything on her arms, though. I think I would like to. Also think it'd be nice to have some sort of centerpiece on her chest. I think using this ornament brush is going to really come in handy. It just adds like a little focal piece for a lot of these. I kind of like this because it looks like a heart, and the idea of having like a green heart or an envious heart, I do like that. And then I'll probably use these kind of like little wispy ornamental pieces to like draw up into her the straps right here. Speaking of, I like these a lot. I kind of want to do more with that. I also think our shoulder pieces need to be thinner as well. I didn't merge them to the trim yet because I thought I might want to change the trim, but now I want to change all of it, so we might as well merge them now. Okay, we're doing the same problem as earlier, so mirror and weld. There we go. Yeah, the thinner look just matches this model a lot better. Otherwise, it just makes her look kind of like a warrior almost, and that's really not what we're going for. Overall, liking it a lot. I need to put something on her feet. I do have a bunch of pre-made shoes. Let me just see if any of them look even halfway decent, and I can kind of like stick them on there and then come back to this later. I'd want a tall boot of some sort, but it'd need to be a very certain style. Ideally with a heel as well. I don't really have a lot of heels though. Okay, these are really not it. I think that's a good starting point. I'm just gonna make them black so they don't stand out very much. I made these a long time ago. And they're not terrible, but I can just do a lot better now. But I don't want to do a lot better right now. So we're just gonna stick these on so I can continue concepting the model. Because her little naked feet are just really making the model, cutting the model in half. Alright, just gonna bend her feet a little bit as if they were in heels. They don't need to be too precise as long as they fit. That is good enough. I'm gonna tuck her feet away and mirror and weld. Ha! Shoes. I kind of like that our arms don't have anything on them, but I think I want to add some more of these like straps. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the body and delete lower subdivision levels. Grab this curved snap brush and just draw some straps on. For some reason, ZBrush really has to think about this, and it's not doing a great job. Come on. You can do it. Yeah, this is like really laggy. I think I'm being a little too picky with these straps right now because I don't even know if I'm going to want them. So I really should just put a bunch on there really quickly, and if I want to after the fact, I can clean them up. So we'll do just that. Alright. Got like a mess of straps wrapped around one arm, which I think is somewhat interesting. I'm going to mirror and weld them, and then go to auto groups and add some symmetry by just going to one side and deleting it. When it's really low poly though, it doesn't always like select or hide the one that you're clicking on. It like gets confused. Yeah, I'll let that sit there for a bit and think about it. And I'll probably go more of like that combat strap route for her boots too. Because these are not doing it. They're not like the worst. They're just not it. Gonna add some wear and tear to these tabards really quick. Just a light texture. And then a favorite of mine is to go in with Snake Hook after the fact. Hey, non-sleepers here. Hello. Hope you've been well. Turn on AccuCurve as well. There we go. It's my favorite ways to make weathered edges. Real quick and dirty. Works well. I like this piece right here. I just don't know what to do with it. What if I make it... What if I make it upside down? Kind of interesting, like a little boob harness. Non-Sleeper says, up in my game, got a new tablet. Ooh, getting full ZBrush. That's so exciting. Oh, I love that. Okay, whatever little thing I'm trying to do here is not working. But I feel like it could belong somewhere. I just like the green, I think. "22-inch tablet. Very exciting. Yeah, I miss teaching you, but I know everyone gets busy. I totally get it. Non-Sleeper says it's perpetual now, only good for 1 year, 2023. If it's labeled as a perpetual license, it should be forever. And it just won't have updates, which I don't think you're missing out. Like, I'm technically one update behind now. I'm still on 2022.5. So the new update had a brush that makes it look like ooze or slime. I really couldn't care less. So you're not really missing out on much. So I'd recommend the perpetual license still. Gonna look at my references a little bit here and kind of think, is there anything else I want to add right now? I'm gonna make her look a little more tired. I'm pretty happy with this, especially since where we started. I might leave it for where it is right now, and then kind of like sit on it and think about what else I want to add to this. Thank you very much. Give her like longer nails. That's usually what I go to. Yeah, we're gonna call this one here right now. Get a slightly nicer looking render. It's a good starting point, though. You can really do a lot with this now. I'm gonna save this. And I'll save it again in my paranoid backup folder. I haven't lost any work in so long, but like, this is a larger project that will be one large Kickstarter, and I don't want to redo anything. And then I'm uploading my third copy, yes, my third copy, to Google Drive. This is why I don't lose any work ever. Alright, let's look at Pride. Alright, this is Pride so far. So I kind of like how radiant she is, bringing a lot of focus. Very flashy. My issue is it's a little too, she looks almost like a virtue, you know? And that is not what's happening here. I think a lot has to do with the color scheme, because I have her almost like these angelic-like colors. If I change that, that'd do a lot. That's the first thing I'm going to do here, is kind of pivot this color scheme to be a little bit darker. Because honestly, if just by changing that, it's going to change a lot. Yeah, so I mean, like immediately it's like, oh, now she's dark. I made her skin like this very like glowy bronze. I think I'm gonna go this more like pale, spooky route now. This mouse can go through some pretty cool changes right now. There we go. It's like I forgot I was sculpting sin. I was like, I don't know. I think, you know, if you're prideful, usually that means that you have something worth being proud of, you know? The reason it's a sin is because it's all like all encompassing, you know, it becomes more like an ego issue. I'm aware, Xander. We're working on it. Giving her a little bit more of a neutral expression. And I want to give her, I think, dark eyes as well. Like, maybe like a dark gold, I would like. There we go. Much spookier. And this is just changing poly paint. I haven't changed the design at all. I like how flashy this is. I definitely want to keep that. Because of all of the sins, Pride has nothing to hide. Pride is here to be the front and center of attention. I'm kind of thinking of like, you know, like symbols of pride. There's not really like a symbol. There we go. That's a lot spookier, just that small adjustment. I want to keep this kind of like a vampire like collar she has. Very powerful, drawing a lot of attention. I think I'm gonna give her a smile again. Or just like a smirk of some sort. It's such a small thing on a mini, but I know it's there. As I think about this and kind of what I want this to look like, I'm gonna add some more details to her sleeves. You know, I think Pride is gonna be one of those sins where it's, without being in context with the rest of the models, you're probably not gonna look at it and think like, wow, that's the embodiment of Pride. You know what I mean? but I can make sure that her expression and her presence is prideful, if that makes sense. Because there's really not like any iconography that goes with pride. So obviously gluttony is fat, lust, nudity, envy, green-eyed monster. Even sloth I didn't have too much trouble with because it's kind of like apathy, being weighed down. Wrath I picked as the pretty much like a lot of like Satan references. You know, it's funny I'm having trouble with this one, because if I had to pick a sin that best represented me, that I identified with, it would be pride. Come on, Mia. Which is also funny, because I've mentioned that I've had trouble with, like, imposter syndrome, too. It's just like, those things can't coexist. Oh, yes, they can. And when they exist in the same head, it's very, what's the word? Cognitive dissonance. Not really a word, but a phrase. Ah, spooky. Okay. I'm liking it. The color scheme change helped a lot. I don't know why I made her look like a literal angel. I'm like, these are the sins, not the virtues. What are you doing? Getting confused and distracted. That's what I was doing. That little swirly piece didn't make any sense, so remove that. Pretty happy with this change. Again, wasn't sure what I was thinking on the left. I mean, I didn't change it too much, like design-wise, other than the color scheme, but man, does it read a lot better now. I like the neck piece, because again, I was thinking like, you know, you hold your head high, which I feel like is a little confusing. They also gave her like a cowl. No, she needs to look spooky in some way, you know? I'm gonna give her gold nails. Small detail. I like it. It also made her toes gold. Get another model with no feet. What can I say? They're kind of like demigod presences. I just don't imagine them with shoes, you know? Like, I'm sure they do, but I just imagine them, like, floating everywhere. Alright, we're gonna screenshot this because this is fun. A little bit of change. Where is my phone? I do think it's funny that I mentioned that of all of the 7 deadly sins, I think that I relate to or embody pride the most. And it's the one sin that I sculpted as like not a sin. It looks like virtuous. The irony is not lost on me. Alright. I'm really happy with the work that I've done on this stream. I think I'm gonna save this and call this live stream over for now. Just kind of a quick one to get back in the swing of things because it's been so long. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Gonna dip for now, and I'll live stream again when I live stream again. I'm not to be trusted saying, oh, live stream again. I don't know. Within the year, you'll see me again. It's like, that's reasonable. God. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic day, okay? I'll see ya.